Hey everyone. If you tuned in last week, we've decided to start a live series and a podcast all about building online businesses. Each week, I'll be interviewing independent business owners, creators, side hustlers, and talking about cool tools out there that help you profit from your passion. For the first few weeks, I'll be catching up with the amazing set of speakers and partners we have on tap for our ReThink Summit, which is happening this August 4th through 6th. It'll be 3 days of inspiration, masterclasses, and workshops designed for anyone interested in getting that side hustle going or building that online business. So at HeySummit, we always believe in testing formats and ways of working. Last week, you were all joining us as we started off this first attempt, and we're continuing that today through using this live streaming format. Let me know if you like the format, the questions, or what kind of subjects you like us to talk about. And I didn't get a lot of negative comments about my choice of my haircut. So happy to hear that. Today, I'd love to welcome Doc Williams. Doc is a business strategist. He's a consultant, a writer, and a live streamer. His business, Brand Factory, helps existing brands or new entrepreneurs level up their tech game, pinpoint their goals, and create concrete strategies. He also hosts the streaming show called Build With Me, where he shows how to build businesses with tech tools in under an hour. Doc, thanks so much for coming on and doing this.
Yeah, man. Thank you. This has been great. I love this. And by the way, your hair looks great. It looks wonderful.
Thank you. My wife cut it. It has nothing to do with the pandemic, actually.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. No, it's good, and keep it up. My wife started cutting my hair, and then I could have gone back, and people are like, well, it doesn't look good right now. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, but I just think it's a new day. I think this is good for spouses cutting hair.
Absolutely. She won't let me cut hers for some reason. I don't know.
Likewise.
So yeah, I would love to start by just learning a little bit more about your origin story. Like, how did you get into all of this? Whether both entrepreneurship in general, but the brand and Brand Factory, specifically.
Yeah. So I think I've always just been interested in selling and just doing something. Ever since I was a kid, started with a candy store. I think that's pretty normal for entrepreneurs. So I started doing a candy store when I was young. I started DJing when I was around 12. I was a wedding DJ at 12. And basically I paid through all of my everything from middle school through college. So I DJ'd all the way through when I was doing that. And then I've just always started businesses. And Brand Factory Inc. or Brand Factory, the reason it started there was it was a lot of several failed attempts of other businesses. So I thought I wanted to run a gym. So I had a CrossFit gym for a number of years. I realized I am terrible at managing people in person. I hate brick and mortar businesses where I have to stay in place. I just want to work the schedule that I want. And so going through that and the failed attempt of marketing my gym, I learned that I really liked digital marketing. I really liked the marketing and the funnels and everything like that. And I was like, you know what? This is what I like doing. This is what I like seeing. And then afterwards, although it was great to get money and have clients, I love teaching. And I have very strong opinions about marketing. And I was like, you know what? I want to start teaching people that.
So interesting. So have you ever worked for someone else?
Yeah. I have, but it's always been like, I've always either gotten the minimum of full-time where I'd only have to work 30 hours a week. So I get insurance and everything, but I could still do my side hustle, or I would work as a contractor or freelancer or something like that. So I've had bosses, but I've always had enough time to do whatever I wanted.
Sure.
And so, at one point I was working several jobs. There's people will tell you I was working 7 jobs at one time. It was only 4, but it was, it was just a lot. I've always just done a lot of things.
Yeah. A lot of people who might be starting to think about doing their own business, I think, suffer from maybe some perfectionism and in thinking like, well, if I'm going to have to jump, it's going to have to be perfect. It's going to have to be every full time, full attention, rather than trying to just add one more plate to juggle and maybe do several more things slightly less bad.
Yeah.
Do you ever have that? Do you have that concern, or
Um,
have you worked through perfectionism in the past?
I think this is good. Why me and my wife work together. She's more of a perfectionist. I am not. I'm just like, let's just go do this. Just go do that. Like, no. So a perfect example. My first. So the first gym. So it was So I had two gyms. So my first one, the CrossFit gym. Our logo was a bear breathing fire, holding a kettlebell, and our slogan of the gym was "Strong enough to fight a bear." And although I give that example because a lot of times people were like, well, it's a CrossFit gym, you shouldn't do branding like that. I just do whatever I want.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't work out, whatever, I'll fail fast. But I'm like, it won't work if I don't do anything. And being paralyzed, I see a lot of times like people have great ideas, but if they don't move or they don't even try it, like what good is it? So
Mhm.
I might be a little bit on the extreme side, but like so I'll give this one last example. Me and my friend, we've grown up together. He's the only one that's beat me with the amount of jobs he's had. So he's around 83, 82. I've had 47. And so we just constantly switch jobs or not switch jobs, just try different projects. And that's just my personality.
Mm. Yeah. Thinking back to maybe some of those that didn't work, we like to talk a lot about pivoting and figuring out when something isn't working, and especially when somebody is wanting to build their own business, it's their baby, and you don't want to give it up. So is there an example of a time when something didn't work, and that you did have to pivot it? Maybe you talk about the CrossFit gym. Like, at what point did you know not only that it wasn't for you because you didn't like it, but also that it wasn't working and that you weren't beating yourself up about that?
So I'm gonna be pretty well, not even pretty. I'm gonna be very honest. What happened? So I was getting burned out because I was doing too many classes. I was trying to manage, grow the business, and do classes. So I was like, no, okay, I need to phase myself out. I need to have another trainer. And I had a really good trainer, really, really talented, just mechanically, just sound, just wonderful. And he got arrested and ended up in jail. And it was just when I shifted over, and he had all of the classes. He did all of the classes. And I came to a realization. I actually emailed and called every single member, and I was like, "Hey, listen, I'm going to be very upfront with you. This is what's happened. I can either send all of your membership back for the year, um, because I've got to close. I want to go online, and I cannot sustain doing these things by myself. And I'm not going to go back and retrain someone and start from scratch. I put so much time and energy into training, into facilitating, and everything like that. And that was a really hard decision because it was more than like 3.5 years of work. And by the way, I was the I was the only owner of the gym, so I spent all of my own money. I did not have any investors. I bought every single piece of equipment by working two other jobs to afford that gym. So it was pretty painful, but I knew that if I tried to go back into the business, it was going to be running myself ragged day by day, trying to do everything myself. And honestly, my heart just wasn't in it anymore. And yeah, so I needed a change.
Did you I mean, that sounds like a big, a big moment, and I guess in hindsight it might strike people as, well, that's a sign or something like that. But
Yeah.
I imagine that in it, that yes, you need a change, but it's all you. It's everything. You put in everything.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's easier to have those kind of realizations and then take action on them when it's all you? Or is it or is the flip side, of the maybe pride and saying, well, hang on, I don't want to give this up, um,
Yeah.
which is more powerful?
That's pretty interesting. I haven't thought about it.
We
I
could.
can give the experience of me doing this before I ended up in two startups, and I know how those ended. So so when it's all you, I feel it's very weight. It's all you. Like even if you're married or have a spouse or whatever, or just someone you're seeing, like it takes a lot out of you. Um, I just knew that. So number one, that was a lot. That did cause a lot of anxiety, but I knew that like if I kept doing this for months or years, Like it would only get worse. I'd only just have more depression because I'd be spiraling and trying to keep it open. And it's like a sinking ship at that point. And so, yeah, I'm not sure if I answered your question.
No. It's fascinating though, is obviously everybody's wired differently, and at the end of the day, after a great decision has been made, it's you sometimes don't know if there were a bunch of negative elements that went into making that great decision, or if there were a lot of great elements that went into making that great decision.
That's interesting that you mentioned that. So I will say on the negative side. So it sounds very virtuous, like, oh yeah, he just made it through it. But like, I'll tell you what, like working out was my life for over 6 years. So
yeah,
right out of high school, I was in muscle and fitness. I was really doing things like that. I was in competitions for kettlebell, the world qualifier. I was very involved. I just stopped working out for a while because I was really depressed. And my gym, actually, it's a good story where it was, so I built my gym, the second location in the police athletic league. So I built that gym, and then on top of it, it was a 2-story obstacle course gym. So parkour was really big at the time, American Ninja Warrior. And so one of the contestants that was on the US team actually lived by the gym. So we built this entire obstacle course for him to train. So when I closed up, I talked to the police athletic league, and they're like, listen, Doc, like you'll have a membership for life. I was like, I want to give you all my equipment, everything, because I know you'll take care of it. I was like, the obstacle course the SWAT team trained on. I was like, just take care of it. Don't destroy, don't sell it. Like, just use it for good. And, I could have gone every week. I could not take myself there. Could not go for years. Just because just emotionally, it was too taxing, too much. Sure. But on the flip side, I had such a burning desire to do something else and do it the way I wanted to, because although the gym was very impactful and I loved CrossFit at the time, I had been doing it for I started CrossFit doing it in 2008. So it was a long time. But I was so mad at all of the marketing and what I was supposed to be doing. And I was like, never again am I going to do that. And of course, I had more trips and falls going forward. But I was like, I know I want to teach people what to do and what not to do with marketing, because it's broken. Like all the things I was told to do, everything I was supposed to do to market my gym, it was so smoke and mirrors. And I was like, one day I'm going to get to the point where I can do my own thing and talk about like real conversations with marketing. And so I used all my energy and went that way.
That's awesome. So I've heard that often. Like they'll be on one side of the marketing context or the content context or whatever it is, and they would have such a bad experience with doing the stuff you're supposed to do. And there's also a lot of problematic people out there that take advantage of small businesses, especially. And it's interesting to see like the quality that emerges out of that being the motivating factor. So you figured out you wanted to switch and really double down on digital marketing, and then you started working with clients. And how is that as a shift? Like, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've worked with clients before, but yeah, how is that a shift for you?
Yeah, it was a shift because number one, I loved working with people. It was great, but there's two things I learned. Number one, especially when I first started out, I was it wasn't that I was a yes man, but after I would be like brushed off on my opinions, they're like, just do this. This is what people are doing in the market. Just do that. And I would be like, okay, like I'll do it. And I knew in the back of my head, I was like, doesn't really work. Doesn't really work. Like how many times, I'm not even going to go on my rant about like all of the due diligence and things you need to do for ads before just turning on ads. And people would be like, oh, just make a Facebook ad, just do this. And, everyone's doing that. And I'd be like, well, you got to look at, the lookalike audience. You got to do all this stuff, do research. Have you sold 100 times? Do we have all of this information? They'll be like, just turn it on. Just turn it on. And by the way, I need like 200 leads for less than like 50 cents. It was insane. I'd be like, oh, we'll try, we'll do it. And it took me years to be like, no. If you want that, go somewhere else and get all of your money taken away from it and then come back and see me, because I am not going to do it. So I would bend over backwards, try to work on all these campaigns, and you know what? It was just because I didn't set the expectations with clients firmly when I first got started, because I was new, I wanted this stuff. And then, through time, it was just like, no. If you want that, you can always find people that will guarantee you those things. Go find them. And when you recoup that money, maybe when you take out a loan and you're ready, then come and talk to me. But I'm not going to fight you every meeting to do what everyone else is doing for nothing.
And when you made that kind of decision, did that then change the nature of your clients, but also the way that they engage with you? And did you have more success just by shifting that mindset?
Yeah, definitely. So it changed. Number one, it changed the relationship with the clients right off the bat, because I feel like when people, maybe it was just my attitude, but I feel like when people are hiring a marketing agency, they're just like, do what I say, do all these things. I'm hiring you. And it's almost like an employer-employee relationship. We're hiring you to do something. But I find that most companies are woefully underprepared to know what marketing's about and understand the mechanics of it. And so to me, my due diligence is I'm going to teach you the philosophy of why I'm arriving to this point. Now, if you do not care about my philosophy, my methodology, what I'm doing, we're just not a good fit. So it cut out all of those conversations. And creating certain amount of content to be like, hey, these are my case studies. This is why I got to this, arrived at this conclusion. I'm giving away all this stuff for free, and your team can do it, and you don't even need me. If you like what I'm saying and you want me to teach your team or to do it, let's have a conversation. And then the results skyrocketed, because now we're getting past all those things. And yes, we still have, we have to get through a mindset, disbelief, all of those things, but we're heading in a lot better direction than trying to convince you why you shouldn't necessarily do everything on ClickFunnels. Or if you do ClickFunnels, you're not going to end up in the 2 comma club at the end of the month. Like that you're not one funnel away. In fact, you're not. You've got to be thinking these things out. And I by the way, I love what Russell does and all those things. But if you want that kind of information, go to ClickFunnels and get into the group and be bamboozled that way. But don't come to me and expect like, oh, plug in exactly what Russell just told me to do.
I like. I've never heard that, the 2 comma club.
Oh yeah, the 2 comma club. So that is if you see anything with ClickFunnels, if they're holding like the trophies and everything, like, or not the trophies, the plaques, and they'll say we're part of the 2 comma club, which is great. But there's a whole other issue that I'm not going to get into when people are like, oh, I made 2 comma. Was it because you were good at your funnel, or was it good because you're an affiliate marketer? I have nothing wrong with an affiliate marketing, but what I'm saying is, did you build your business on the thing that you're trying to do, or on affiliations for people to be part of your pyramid scheme for you to get 2 commas?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of hype that people feel like they need to have with themselves, and I feel like that hype is certainly might make you feel better and might make you think that you're lifting yourself up. But with other people who are wanting to get into this, that also presents this image that it's all well and good, and if you're not successful, that's actually not my fault. You're just bad at it. And I feel like that's gaslighting. That's not good. It's not healthy, and it doesn't actually help.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I try to be honest with everyone. Like, yes, the results are going to vary, but I want to put you on the clearest path and the most likely path to succeed. And there's a lot of other things that you have to do before just this imaginary world where you buy this platform, this SaaS platform or product, and then you're going to be just raking in the money. The likelihood of that is just so low, it's not even funny. So I try to make sure that the expectations, and before I never felt unsure. When I was with confrontational people, I would always be like, well, I'm not going to argue, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? You'll find out. But you know what? It hurt me in the long run, because they would just be like, well, why didn't you? It's like, no. We need to set expectations now. Yeah. If it's not good, we're not a good fit. And that's okay.
So speaking about building things with that SaaS product, can you just talk a little bit about like Build with Doc? What is that, and how do how do you actually build a business with a with a SaaS, a software company in an hour on live?
Yeah. So it started actually, the project started with everything going on with COVID actually, because I was actually on LinkedIn and I was seeing a bunch of different entrepreneurs that were like making 8 figures and 7 figures. And they kept saying like, we'll make it together, we'll get through. And it was really like generic inspirational stuff. And it was just getting me more and more mad because I'm like, first of all, like, you don't know what I'm going through. And number two, you're not really telling anyone anything of substance. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a show where I'm going to build a business every single night with a tool. I'm just going to show. And I was like, what can I do to like just blow everyone up out of the water? I was like, I'll do it for 40 days straight and I won't do one business. I'm going to do 3 businesses with one tool every single night. And because I was just so mad that all of this misinformation or ambiguous information. So build with me or build with Doc, it has to do where I just take a tool, usually an AppSumo tool. And what I'm talking about is not just learning how to use the tool, but position yourself how to offer a service with a tool. And so there are tons of tools out there, HeySummit, ConvertKit, it goes on and on, TubeBuddy, it goes on and on, that you need to learn how to use it. And there's tons of people that have bought the product and have no idea how to use it, but you need to teach yourself how you can market your skill or what you need to do. So for example, like with HeySummit, I'm like, okay, you can be a technician where you are asking people, hey, do you need help running the summit? I'll do that for you. But also there might be people that are really bad at going live and they just need a stream producer. They need someone in the green room, like managing everything. You can offer that. Or you can offer, getting specific speakers for your summit. And then every time you close the deal, and if they're doing affiliates for their ticket sales or something, if you're the salesman doing that, can you get a percentage bringing in all of these people? Like, so it's about using the tool, using what you're trying to do, your talents, not learning something new right off the bat, but using your own unique talents, use that technology, that SaaS tool, and then go make money very quickly. And that's what we do. Cool.
Very cool. I still can't believe that you do it. You do it every night, but that's amazing. So just thinking about that and how you're efficient, or how you keep efficient. Like, just practically, like, how do you manage your time?
That's an interesting question. For a while, I'll just be honest. I've always been this way. I work in a couple different shifts. I can't work for a long period of time. I get burned out. So I actually take lots of naps, and then I wake up and I work in the middle of the night. And I feel like less people are bothering me, less people are emailing me, and I just like working at night. But that's just my balance. But the truth is, it's having SOPs, having standard operating procedures, and very, very quickly, I either teach a VA what they need to do, or my project manager is my wife, and then she does all of those things. But I've done every single job in the company, every single one. And then after I do it, I make an SOP, then I have her do it, then I have her hire a VA and then have them do the task, and then they write the SOPs again, and then we make it a Google Sheet, and then we have that at our standard operating procedure. And then, maybe once or twice a year, we'll pick up an apprentice or something like that. But that's what we've been trying to do. And then on top of which, because now I've really shifted into live streaming, and that's really where all of the business has gone. I did a challenge, and it's actually starting this week. I've test drived it a couple times, but I've pretty much gotten down to I can work only 2 hours a day, and then I try to live stream 90% of my work day. So then I can just repurpose it as content.
Wow. Okay. Sounds like a whole system. Specific tools that you like using? I mean, I know you also mentioned using virtual assistants. I think that's really, really interesting space. But are there specific tools that you like? So
I like Notion. Notion, I basically built the Build With Me, the Build With Doc, the whole site off of Notion in Card. So I like Build With Me. I use Squid Hub. I mean, there's much more powerful ones. You can use Nifty or Basecamp. But you know what I found is like all we need to do is keep track of tasks and really easy communication. So leaning down to Squid Hub, that's what it is. So that's the thing. For automations and everything, I use Paperform. I use Zapier, ConvertKit, Podia. And that's about it for everyday things. For marketing and kind of, we talked about this, but just rehashing before, for outreach, if I'm trying to get certain clients, I just put it into a very specific type of summit using HeySummit. And then I turn off registration, and then I use that as lead gen as I'm getting specific clients. So I use that very strategically. But those are probably all the systems I use to automate the business. I used to use Stand-Uply when I had a bigger team where everyone would just put in their reports, and then we would get aggregate reports so we wouldn't have to meet all together. I think that's it.
Oh, cool. And personal, do you have any like specific apps that you like to use or manage your time? Do you block schedule, or do you use any of those kind of ideas for?
Not really. I use what do I use? I'm trying to think about this. That's the thing. Yeah, that I have my book right here. That's pretty much it. I use Google Calendar. So, you know what? Why didn't I think about this? I use Book Like a Boss for everything. So all my scheduling, it's synced with my Google Calendar, and basically everything. I know, and some people get annoyed. They're like, "Why do I have to keep booking?" I'm like, no. Just put it in Book Like a Boss, like because that just syncs with everything. So I try to have that, and then I've actually taken off pretty much every app off my phone except like the time limit one. And I'm trying to get down to only being on social media 17 minutes a day. And I kept, because I have, I forgot another tool. I totally forgot, man. Shout out. Repurpose.io. So when I do the show, I don't have to go in and make micro clips. I set up everything. So I do everything once during my live stream, and then it makes all the micro clips, and then it schedules all of my social media posts. So I've gotten down, I only do social media planning for 1 hour, and then it makes 30 pieces of content for the rest of the week. And so that's all I do. I don't do anything else.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. I guess last question is maybe a little bit more philosophical, but like starting businesses can sometimes, be lonely. And I know that you have your wife, you have a team that you're building, but motivation can be really a problem, especially when someone's just starting out and they're taking this leap. They literally, it's a cliff. And would love to understand a little bit about like what motivates you as a person, but also when you're thinking about starting a business. What builds those coals, if you want to that way.
That's interesting. I don't know. I think
do you ever feel lonely?
Yeah, I do. But you know what? I hate to say, like, what fuels me is like, I don't know. I've always had such a big chip on my shoulder. Like, I'm not saying that anger or rage are like the secret to like keep going, but like I get so mad when people count me out or say that I can't do something. Like that, honestly, like my wife will tell you, like, that's all I need. Like every single, I ended up in a fitness magazine when I was 18. It was because my sister's boyfriend at the time was like, you could never put on weight. You can't do this. And I was like, I'm going to end up in this magazine and I'm going to mention him in the magazine. Like, I cannot wait until I end up in this magazine. And that spurred me on for 2 years to get into the magazine. And I sent him the magazine. I mailed him a copy and he knew it was about him. I talk about him and like, and maybe that's not I'm not saying it's healthy for everyone to do it. And but you know what? I use that as like, I want to do the best that I can do. And I get frustrated when other people in the industry, I see that they're doing it in a way that I feel passionately that they're not doing it in the right way. And the only way that I can do this is by proving them wrong and going out and doing it. Talking about it does nothing. And all you're doing is you're just a troll on the internet if you can't do it. So I was like, the only thing that I can do is go out and show them that they're wrong. And I'm not trying to get validated by their like, acknowledging them, but I need to do this for myself. I need to be able to do it because I cannot stand when I'm at parties. You know what? I can't stand when people watch football. They're like, "Oh, that quarterback just should have duked him." I'm like, "You're what? Like, you're not. You've never played at. What are you talking about?" And although at sports and physicality, like I feel like okay, you've got to be in the 1/10 of 1% to be that to be able to do that. I feel like business and online, it's open game. Like if you really want to do something, you're on the internet where you can do pretty much anything at a scalable way. Like you have AWS, you have all of these systems to really scale your business. If you're working on capacity, you don't have to buy out, hundreds of thousands of dollars for servers anymore. Like there's the no code movement to build anything you want. Like I feel like just do it. And so to me, I've always wanted to produce videos. I've always wanted to do certain things where I never had the money or never knew how to do it. And all of these tools are rolling out like pennies on a dollar. And I'm like, you know what? I've always like, let's just do it. Let's just get after it. And that pretty much fires me up to do whatever. And I'm not sure if that I'm not sure if that's
great. No, that's a great thing. I mean, yeah, commenting about how the best revenge is massive success. But in a similar way of of some people in the industry, maybe blaming people for if you're not successful, it's you only have yourself to blame. At the same time, not starting something and not giving it a go is definitely something that you shouldn't really have an excuse for, or most often the biggest thing that stands in your way is you deciding to get off the sidelines, stop talking about what you don't like, and actually get in there and get dirty.
Yeah. And I would just like to say one last thing with that. And I think that's like all of this stuff, all these years, like it distilled down into the show Build With Me, because I've always like, tutorials are great, all these things, but I'm always like, when you're doing a live stream and people are like, oh, you're doing this or you're not doing this right, I'm like, okay, so what are you working on? Like build with me right now. And for the most part, I get hecklers when they watch the replay and they're like, oh, you're not doing it. Whenever I'm like, okay, so show me the link of what you're doing. Either people are like, oh, I haven't started yet. I'm like, well, listen, you're saying a whole lot of nothing. Like, and it doesn't really affect me like that. And I was actually for all the other content I did for AppSumo and stuff like that, it's pretty funny. Like when I do more generic content or like, hey, this is how you use the tool, like, whatever. When I do Build With Me, it's a very, very strong reaction. Either people love the show and they'll build and it's a community in real time, or people hate the show and people are like, this sucks. I can't believe you're doing this. And like, you're fumbling around. I'm like, listen, bro, like I've already used the tool. I'm doing it to go in real time to do it. But I was like, you know what? That's actually a testament. If you think that I honestly don't know how to use the tool, that's actually excellent because it's showing.
Go off and do it yourself.
It's really interesting. So, I love the show. I love what's going on right now. And although these are horrible things happening in the world and all these things, very trying times, I feel like this is it's going to be one of the biggest jumps in technology and business in the generation as long as this goes on, because you have got to pivot and change or you will be dead. Your business will be dead in less than 8 months unless you start to adapt. And all the times before, like I've always been having this message about like, you need to learn these things. It's clear right now. It's clear right now. And that's why like HeySummit's winning, AppSumo, people are learning that they have to do something very quickly to stand out, to do something different with their business. So yeah, I'm fired up.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Doc. That I just love your mindset, but I think that getting into detail a little bit like you've been willing to do is just, it's super valuable for people to hear. Yeah. Thank you again.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We're as I think I said at the beginning, Doc is going to be sharing more of his insight at our ReThink Summit in a few weeks. You can find Doc's information at brandfactoryinc.com, and you can check out his live show at buildwithdoc.com. I think that we have those both linked in the description. And If you'd like to hear more about what Doc has to say with regards to some of the stuff that we talked about today, make sure that you're signed up for ReThink 2020 on rethink2020summit.com. We have over 25 amazing speakers providing inspiration and expertise, and partners like Teachable, Canva, and ConvertKit providing training and maybe some goodies for people, and a whole community of builders like you who have taken that step that you might be thinking about taking and have started building their online business. So have a fantastic week. I'm really looking forward to hearing your talk, Doc. And wherever you are in the world, I hope that you're staying safe, and see you next time.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take care.